Well, hello there, purple nurpled fluff warriors. Lurks here, and I'm gonna tell you a story about the FurCon blues. That's right, I am going to talk about my miserable experience surrounding Further Confusion 2023 and how it cost me over $1,000. So let's start with a little history. Sometime back in 2022, I was trying to decide which furry conventions I was going to attend in 2023. Now, usually I go to Anthro Northwest. Last year, I went to Anthro Northwest with a group of friends, and we had an absolutely epic time. So Anthro Northwest 2023 had been moved to January. It used to be in November. I contacted that group of friends. I was like, hey, group of friends, are you going to Anthro Northwest in 2023? And they were like, no, we're not. They had actually decided they were going to Further Confusion instead, which was just a week later down in California. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. The weather's probably going to be absolutely disgusting in Seattle in January, and I will go to Further Confusion also. So I follow Further Confusion on Twitter, and I wait for the hotel block to open up. And being rather experienced with booking hotel rooms for fur cons, I'm like, it's a pretty big con. I need to book my room the day they open. I get on there 10 minutes after the hotel block opens, and they're sold out already. The entire room block is sold out. Needless to say, I was not happy. I hit up my friends on Telegram. I was like, hey, guess what happened? I didn't get a room. And one of them was like, well, we did get a room. I can probably get you in, but just be advised there's going to be some NSFW stuff going on in the room in the evenings most likely. Now, that would have been kind of awkward for me, having to leave the room at certain times or being nervous about going back in and interrupting something. And I was like, hey, thanks for the full disclosure. I'm going to look for my own room. Further Confusion tweeted that at some point they were going to open up more rooms in a couple of nearby hotels. So I just waited for that. So the time comes. The expanded room block is opening up. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be on there the literal second the clock turns. So I get on there, and there are no rooms available. I'm like, no, it's impossible. They could not have possibly sold out in like 5 to 10 seconds. So I'm paying attention to Twitter, and people are starting to tweet at FC like, hey, what's going on? There's no rooms available. There's something wrong. FC finally acknowledges and is like, oops, there was a glitch. Hold on. Everybody at this point is expecting FC to just move the opening up to another set time. Well, they didn't do that. All of a sudden, I noticed a tweet from FC that said, oh yeah, we fixed it, the room block is open now. And the tweet was from 20 minutes before. Unless you were just refreshing Twitter constantly, they didn't give you any warning, they just opened the block. So guess what happens? I go in and there are no rooms available except for a gigantic 900 square foot, $600 a night suite. At this point, I'm so frustrated. I'm like, whatever, I'm just going to book the suite. I'll get 3 roommates. It'll be $600 a piece or whatever. It's California. Hopefully people are expecting it to be expensive and it'll all be good. All right, so at least I had a room now for FC 2023. Things are looking up. About 2 weeks later, I realized, wait a second. A lot of times the con block hotels only sell out for Friday and Saturday nights. I wonder if there are regular rooms available for Thursday and Sunday. So I checked, and indeed there were. So I was like, sweet. Pun intended. Canceled the suite for Thursday and Sunday and got normal, less expensive hotel rooms. So this is good, saving everybody some money. Had an advertisement up on Con Roomies looking for roommates, and I actually got quite a few replies. I had 3 roommates chosen, a couple others kind of on a wait list in case somebody dropped out, and the plans were all coming together. Had my plane tickets bought, ready to attend FC 2023. So what happened? Well, here's the first thing that happened. Now, ironically, the main reason we didn't go to Anthro Northwest is because we expected the weather to be awful. I looked at the weather report about a week before FC and I was shocked. I was thinking at worst, San Francisco Bay Area winter, maybe a little foggy, maybe a little overcast or drizzle here and there, but I wasn't expecting anything worse than that. Who was I wrong? The weather forecast called for torrential rain the entire duration of the con, like up to an inch a day. Now, keep in mind, I was not in a hotel that connected to the convention center. I would have had to walk about 4 blocks to and from the con. That means my fursuit would have been soaked through by the time I got to the con, and soaked through even more by the time I got back to the hotel, unless I covered it with garbage bags or something. So at that point, I'm starting to get cold feet about even attending the convention. I'm like, well, I'm not going to be able to bring my fursuit. That's going to really suck. On top of that, there was that whole big mess with that FAA computer system going down. All the planes in the entire United States got grounded the day before I was supposed to leave. I figured there might be a ripple effect and affect my flights. And then to top it all off, something came up at work. There was something critical that was going to come in an email that I had to answer immediately, and I kind of had to be there for that. At that point, I had a painful decision to make. Am I even going to attend FC? And if I don't attend, what am I going to do with my roommates? And after thinking about it for a little while, the decision was fairly obvious. It just wouldn't work out. I couldn't attend the con. So I decided not to. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do? And I kind of shared my thoughts on Twitter, what should I do with these roommates? I mean, I've agreed to provide them with a room. I booked the room in my name. Should I just cancel the room and tell them tough luck? And some people were like, yeah, it's their problem. They can find another room. I started thinking, well, no, that's not their problem. It's my fault. I instigated this whole thing, and they can't find another room because FC rooms are really hard to get. They're sought after. All the room space is going to be pretty much full, and I'm going to be screwing these people over. Even though I don't know them, I have an ethical responsibility to take care of them because I promised to. What I decided to do was not attend the con, but pay my quarter of the hotel cost and just eat the loss, so they could enjoy the con and have a room. I figured that was the fair and reasonable thing to do. Right about then, one of the roommates cancels. They're just for whatever reason at the last minute, they're not going to the con. How dare they not go to the con at the last minute like I just did? So anyway, I contact the other two roommates. I'm like, great, now I'm on the hook for half the price of the hotel that I'm not even going to be staying in. I'm like, hey, just to guarantee 100% you're going, right? And they're both like, yes, we're going. The day of the con comes, and obviously I'm not at the con. The one roommate shows up. I get his name on the room so he can check in because I'm not going to be there. And I'm like, I don't know about the other roommate. I'd sent multiple Telegram messages at this point. The other roommate, Chrissy, if that's your actual name, you douche, just completely ghosted me and never showed up, never paid, nothing. To this day, they've never responded to me. So now there's one roommate left attending who's alone in this giant suite and is only paying a quarter of the price of it. Well, good for him, I guess. It was pretty epic. He sent me some video. I'm sure he had a great time, but now I was on the hook for 3/4 of the price of these very expensive hotel rooms, and there was no way I was going to get out of it. Now, this one roommate was only planning on staying Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I was like, sweet, at least I can get the room canceled for Sunday and save a little bit of money. So I start looking at the fine print, and I'm like, oh no, the room is not cancelable. There is a no refund policy after a certain date on these hotel block rooms. And I put my frustration out there on a Furry YouTuber group, and a number of people responded, and they were like, hey, here's what you do. You file a chargeback on your credit card and try to get the money back for the hotel room that way. And I was thinking about it. I was like, I don't think I can really do that. I think there's some legal issues with that. They're like, nah, just do it. Just file a chargeback. Just dispute it. It'll be fine. So I started thinking about that. I mean, granted, this was only going to save me $270 on the cheaper hotel room for Sunday. And I came to the decision that no, that's not only questionably illegal, but it's definitely unethical. When you book a hotel room, you're basically entering into a legally binding contract to rent that room. There's a little box you have to check to agree to their terms and conditions, or sometimes it just says, by proceeding or hitting next, you agree to our terms and conditions. All the stuff is in the fine print, checkout times, check-in times, what happens if you smoke in the room, cancellation policy, that sort of thing. So I agreed to that and essentially entered into a legally binding contract. When I decided after the fact that I wasn't going to use that service that I had paid for, and I wanted to get out of that contract to breach the contract because I thought it was unfair now that I can get my money back, that's not a valid legal excuse to breach a contract. It's never going to hold up in any court anywhere. So by trying to reverse the charges on my credit card, intentionally knowing I had signed a contract that said I was bound to pay this money, I would be arguably committing credit card fraud and probably committing theft of services as well. No, don't do that. That would be an incredibly bad idea. I just had to suck it up and take the loss. So there you have it. There's how being an ethical, honest person cost me over $1,000. What would you have done? Let me know down in the comments. Now, I got a little bit of it back. I got $80 back on my con registration. They agreed to refund that. And I had to downgrade my registration for a future con from like super ultra mega high sponsor tier down to regular. That saved me like another $180 that I got back. So I was still in the hole like 900 and something bucks, which sucks bad. I mean, I know I have fursuits and guitars and stuff, but I'm not a wealthy person. $1,000 is like a quarter of my monthly income. Thankfully, I did get a year-end pay bonus that covered the loss, but I still ended up losing a lot of money. And I'm not happy about it, and I'm probably never going to go to FC again. All right, and rant. Thank you, as always, to our super moist and delicious patrons. You keep this channel going and growing, and I am so appreciative of you. If you are not a moist and delicious patron and you'd like to become one, check out the link in the description. Thanks for stopping by. I hope your furry convention experiences are better than my last two, because they haven't been very good. My next one will be Texas Furry Fiesta, where I have a bunch of friends going, and that should be a lot better. That one's always an epic con, so I'm really looking forward to that. And hopefully this streak of bad luck will go away. All right, until next time, stay safe, stay fluffy, and we'll see you later.